Hey, Lee Robinson here at American Sentinel K9. I hope you're having a blessed day. Today we had a little bit of a shock and awe kind of response from some people that saw me advertise a breeding that I did between Lucky 7 and 4 Socks. Some people saw the dogs, the pictures of the dogs tied together, and they were offended. Oh my goodness, what kind of sick, demented person does someone have to be offended by a breeding of animals? Look, the Discovery Channel, National Geographic, Steve Irwin, any type of animal expert, zoos. I used to work at a zoo. Bet you didn't know that. I used to work at the Cincinnati Zoo, and I actually worked at a facility called CREW, which now they call it like the Conservation and Research of Endangered Wildlife or something like that. But back when I was there 27 years ago, it was called the Center of Reproduction of Endangered Wildlife. And look, this is part of the animal world, breeding dogs. It's been going on since domestication of animals. And, you know, people are used to seeing DNA tests, I guess, but what they don't understand is DNA tests are very easily faked. And somebody's probably freaking out right now saying, you can't fake a DNA test, it's 99.9% accurate. That's right, it's 99.9% accurate except for one thing. A dishonest person can write the wrong name on the swab. Let's say we have a dog named Adam and another dog named Bill, and we're gonna breed it to a dog named Zira, okay? Now, if Bill is sterile and everybody wants a puppy off of Bill, I can't sell them any dogs off of Bill. But what I could do if I was a dishonest person is I could breed that dog to Adam, get puppies off of him, and then on the pedigree say it's Bill, and people are like, well, you'll get caught when you do a DNA test. No, because the DNA tests are sent, the kits are sent to the individual breeder's house 99% of the time. And so all I have to do is get the little cotton swab that the kit sent me, and I take that cotton swab and I swab Adam's mouth and get the cells from Adam. And then I put that little swab in an envelope and I write Bill on the swab that actually came from Adam. Now it will show that Bill is the sire because the DNA that's on the swab is labeled Bill, even though it came from Adam. And therefore, it looks like the dog Bill produced the puppies when he did not. So in my opinion, the best way to get a proof that the Bill is actually the dad is to show a picture of the dogs being bred. This is what's been going on for decades. Now you might think, well, Lee, that's kind of like old technology. I will tell you what, when it comes to DNA tests, I have personally done them. I've done Western blots. We did this back when I was in college 27 years ago. I've been teaching genetics for 25 years. I actually ran a lab called radioimmunoassay at the University of Illinois, and we didn't allow pregnant women to come in because there were radioactive isotopes attached to steroids there that would cause them to possibly abort their baby if they were pregnant. And so, you know, research is what I did for a living when I got my 2 degrees in animal sciences. I'm also certified in artificial insemination. Like I said, I worked at the Cincinnati Zoo dealing with breeding endangered wildlife. I sold 10 dogs to the Prince of Malaysia. I sold 2 dogs to Saquon Barkley. We sold more than a half a dozen dogs to Pat Patrick, who is arguably the most successful breeder of domesticated animals in history. He has more dogs that have produced champions and grand champions than any other breeder in history, because his dogs are behind those lines. He bred those dogs for 40 years. He sent me a gift of his ADBA Dogman Hall of Fame plaque as a thank you for the dogs that he got from me. So when somebody wants to call me a backyard breeder, I'm like, oh, really? Do you have a $50,000 facility? Because these kennels that you see back here, 40 grand on this one, another 10 grand on that one. That's just on the kennels. That doesn't include our about $1,200 a month that we spend on dog food. That doesn't include my degrees. That doesn't include my AI certification. It doesn't include the 20 years of experience that I've had breeding. It doesn't include the 10 years of education that I had prior to that. It doesn't include all the equipment that I've had. This is what I've done for a living. A backyard breeder is a person that maybe has 1 or 2 books about dogs in their life, if that, and maybe they Google something on Facebook or whatever, and they call themselves educated, but they've never spent any money or any real work getting formal education or working with professionals in the industry. So these snowflakes that are almost always under 30 years of age and are probably vegans and have never worked more than 8 hours a day in their life, they crack me up when they're offended by seeing a couple of dogs bred. That is not pornographic, and if you think it is, then you got some growing up to do, and you're a little sick and demented in the head, because this is called animal husbandry and animal reproduction. So anyway, I've said what I wanted to say. Y'all have a blessed day.